Here a little video on how I prepare samples of core A that we express here at the CRMN in E. coli cells. So the last step of purification is a size exclusion chromatography, and after that we usually obtain a peak like that, where you can show it's a single peak, is pretty pure, and we just combine those fractions together and then measure the concentration of that large fraction, which is something usually in the range of 10 to 15 milliliters, and then in this case it is the concentration of 0.4 milligram per ml. The next step after that is reconstitution, and in our case I would say that the simplest way to do that is by dialysis. So I prepared a large amount of buffer, 4 liters, that allows me to do a couple of buffer changes. In this case it's only a Hepis buffer with some magnesium salt in it. I took 10 milligrams of dry DMPC and added 1 milliliter of TBS buffer. With a bit of vortexing you will get an uniform emulsion like this. It will, without any additions of detergents or any other treatments, it will never go into a clear solution. But that's good enough for our purpose right now. Because then if I used 5 milliliters of the protein at 0.4 milligram per ml, and this contains 0.05% of DDM detergent, which I filled into a dialysis bag like this. So I'm using in this case a dialysis membrane with a cutoff of 25 kilodalton, and I just added 100 microliters of this lipid emulsion. And as soon as you mix it into this, dilute it basically into the detergent, protein detergent micelles, you get a clear solution of protein, lipid, detergent mixed micelles, which looks like that. And now over a dialysis of a few days, we will remove the detergent to form multilamellar vesicles. So I put this to steer at room temperature. The temperature depends a bit on which lipid you're using. In this case it's DMPC, so room temperature for that is optimal, and we will see what's going to happen. So after 24 hours we can already see that the protein precipitated. Now I left it another night, so it's in total it's around like 40 hours. You can see that's clearly milky. And the first thing to do now is to collect this precipitate, and I will just use a regular 15 milliliter Falcon tube. So I've collected the sample by centrifugation. As you can see, there's a nice loose pellet in here, and I removed the supernatant to have a volume below 1 milliliter. Now the challenge is to press all this pellet into this little 1.3 millimeter NMR rotor. And to do that we use a centrifuge tool, which is basically a insert for a ultracentrifuge. So when this tool is assembled, you can see it fits perfectly into this ultracentrifuge buckets, and it's nothing else but a funnel, and the rotor is down here. So what is left to do now is to take our sample, which after spinning with only 5,000 RPM, this should be rather loose, so we can resuspend it easily. and transfer it into this funnel. Oop. This funnel can take up to 1 milliliter of volume. And this gets placed into this ultracentrifuge bucket. Oop. And we are ready to spin. So I just took it out of the centrifuge. First thing that we observe is there's still buffer in here, which means it didn't dry out. You can see it's a clear solution. It can be removed now. You can open it up. Here you can see it a little bit brownish, so there's a bit of material in here. We can try to recover it, but that's not an easy task. That's probably as good as it gets. And here's now our rotor. Zip. And it looks like it's completely full. So if we go in here, yes, we actually, if we poke in, we actually remove a little bit of material. We can also try to recover that. So the important message here is, you can see if I go in with a tool, you can clearly feel some resistance. If your pellet is too loose, too liquid, you wouldn't feel a resistance, and your tool just goes in and squeezes out whatever is inside. Now I put in the bottom cap, so I pushed a bit of material from that side. So now here you can feel with the tool, you can go in only like a millimeter. So now here we need to create space for another Teflon insert and the top cap. So actually we have to remove a bit of material. For this you can use this little drill. Take out some material, which is again, that is really difficult to recover. But like this, it already looks quite good, and I think I'm ready to put the caps on. So this is how the final sample looks like. So we have a cap at the bottom, cap at the top, and two little Teflon inserts inside. So the total sample space is only those like 2 to 3 millimeters in the middle here. But this is ready to go into the magnet. So now the rotor is in the spectrometer spinning at 18 kilohertz. And if you have a well-packed sample, you get a decent signal out of a HC cross-polarization experiment, like shown here. There you go.